Hello, everybody. I'm Steve Haase from Yada, here with my co-founder and CEO, Petar Ojdrovic, and this is the Fully Booked STR podcast. We're here to help you make smart choices and grow your business in an intelligent, effective way. And we have been at this for a while, so we have a lot of data on past bookings, what led to those bookings, how you get more of those bookings to come back as repeat guests. And so we're going to dive into it. We have data on 3.5 million bookings, and we found some interesting insights that we want to share with you. Welcome, Petar. Good
Yeah,
to see you.
thank you. Happy Friday. It's a big data day today. That rhymes.
That was
I don't
good.
know. Does it? Data day today.
Data day today.
3.5 million data points. We're gonna show you some really cool stuff around why doing direct bookings is so important and why guest relationships are one of the most critical assets you have as an operator.
Let's jump in. So we have a screen share here. If you're watching on YouTube,
Yes.
you can see it. If you're listening to the podcast, we'll talk through each of the points. Petar, tell us how you got these points and what they are pointing to.
Yeah, so we have 3.4. We have over 3.4 million past guests in the Yada platform. 5.6% of those are repeat bookings total. Our best operators and the ones that are having the highest like RevPAR and occupancy rates are running at a 20% repeat booking rate. That means for most folks, there's about a 3 to 4x space. There's about, you can grow about 300 to 400% your repeat bookings and still have room to grow. And the numbers support that. So that 5.6 includes like the operators that are doing 20%. So it's probably closer to 4% or 3.5% system wide that are, for folks that are not doing anything to drive repeat bookings versus the ones that are. So realistically, it's closer to like a 5 to 7x opportunity there to increase your repeat bookings, to go from somebody who's, doing nothing to actively increase repeat bookings to get to a point where you're matching the operators that are doing a very active job of driving repeat bookings. There's a lot of money in it.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing about this here, as you were talking about it, just thinking, there are a good number of businesses that are on the Yada platform that are not using it for marketing. And so that's why some of those numbers are smaller than others. Also, when we started, a lot of the work was more manual. So you had to go in and create campaigns and send the campaigns. And now a lot more of it is automated. So as more of the people on Yada start using the marketing, and as more of those automations start doing their work, we're going to see that number tick up as a whole. But what's interesting about this current data set is that it reflects realities in the short-term rental industry on a broad basis, right? We have a lot of operators who have signed up for data migration purposes, for AI messaging purposes, and so we get a pretty good cross section of what is the current status.
Yeah. So it's we have a lot of very good data to support this, and a lot of that repeat booking rate data that we have is looking at folks' databases before they start using Yada, and then after they start using Yada, and do some comparisons that way. So it's a very comprehensive data set that we've gotten here. Repeat revenue is key. There's 4 pretty easy ways to grow it. First, we think everybody should be trying to win back lost inquiries. If somebody expresses an interest in booking or booking again or interacting with you, sequences and outreach and messaging around that are super critical. So following up on anybody that's increased or that's expressed interest in booking, that's something very tactical that folks can start with immediately. Obviously, reactivating past guests. So taking everyone in that database and emailing them, messaging them through SMS, giving them a reason to come back, like whether it's seasonal promotions or offers or discounts or loyalty levers. Like, you have to reactivate your past guest database. It's the most important asset you have after the real estate itself. And then, of course, like capturing more referrals. So like if somebody books with you, try to get the email address of everybody else that booked as well, and everybody else that traveled with them as well. Same with phone numbers. And then, of course, like all this goes to the result of not only filling high season, but also mitigating some of the the pain that comes along with shoulder season and off season. So being able to influence shoulder season and off season instead of just waiting for the OTA to send guests to your portfolio, to your properties on shoulder and off season.
And this is what we see our top operators doing, is actually taking that past guest list and introducing them to why they would want to come back. Right?
Yeah.
If you've studied the psychology of sales, the psychology of persuasion, it's about planting an idea in someone's mind, planting a seed that will turn into an intention and then turn into action. And so if you just leave it up to the guest to say, hey, maybe I'll come back to, the Berkshires in winter, you're like, yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah.
But if you say, hey, did you know that the Berkshires are amazing in winter because of these 5 reasons? You're like, you actually stand a chance at bringing them back to the summer vacation at a different season.
For sure. Let's go on to the next slide, because there's a couple of really, let's skip this one because I really want to focus on the data and really just highlight the opportunity. I really just want to show like how important it is to do anything possible to increase repeat and direct bookings. For most of our operators, they have almost 10,000 guests in their portfolio, of which 75% are reachable by email or phone. So this is a phenomenal customer list. Most companies would be stoked to have 7,500 reachable, loyal customers that have already spent money with them in the past. This is a phenomenally powerful, phenomenally valuable asset. Even system-wide, so this includes everyone that's doing very effective marketing with us at Yada. That's about 1 stay per guest, sometimes 1.05, 1.1. Essentially, every single person that stayed with you, if you're not doing anything to bring them back and waiting for them to come back organically and book organically, they have like a 90+% chance of never doing that. With Yada, they have a 75% chance of booking again. So just within the first year, they're almost doubling their direct booking rate within 1 year, from 1.1 stays per guest. And again, that 1.1 includes everyone that's doing it. So it's probably closer to like 1.03 or 1.04. So going from like a 1.04 stays per guest to 1.73 stays per guest for folks that are driving direct bookings and using outbound marketing journeys, campaign signals to drive direct bookings. And this not only increases the average stays per guest, which is really, really, really important, it also increases the value of those stays. Because if someone's booking on Airbnb or an OTA, they already have a set amount of money or dates in their mind that they want to travel for. So they're looking at Airbnb for Friday night and Saturday night, leaving Sunday morning. When you're doing outbound, you can get people to interact with you in a way and think about stays that are not just like weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday stays, but maybe like Wednesday through Monday. So the average direct booking is worth 24% more than the OTA booking at net value, right? And that doesn't even include the fees. So it's closer to like 30 or 40% more value per direct booking, as opposed to waiting for somebody to come through the OTA. So the numbers are like undeniable. It's unequivocally critical to drive direct bookings and to drive repeat bookings.
And also, if you just think about the sales angle here again, let's say you have a midweek opening, those annoying gap nights that just kind of sit there, or even, a weekend that's usually booked, that's, also just sitting there. Rather than selling kind of the standard, hey, bring your crew here, hey, have a big family vacation, you could sell, wouldn't it be nice to just get away for a few nights during the day? You can work remotely here. You can just take a dip in the lake, right? Selling those more impulse buys or local proximity. You're just creating more opportunities for people to say yes when they otherwise might not be thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this isn't like wishy-washy, hand-wavy stuff. Like, this is real numbers, like real data supporting this idea that giving people these offers and putting the right offer in the right hands to the right person can really drive some staggering results. Let's continue on with the data, because I think this is I want to stay here. Just go back one slide. I think this is like really, really important to highlight that this type of marketing is a loop and a life cycle. It's not like one-off siloed events. Essentially, like every time somebody stays, you're collecting context and permission to market to them again. Over time, your system gets enriched with their like persona, with their preferences, with semantic data about like what they said in messaging or what they said on reviews and things like that. Every possible opportunity, you have to be enriching that guest persona. Like, where do they come from? Why do they travel? What their budget is, what their family situation is, etc. If you can do this in an automated way, like with Yada, for instance, even better. But having this data is super critical. Once you've enriched and personalized the guest profile, and once you have enough data about the guests, like all you really need is an email and a phone number. But again, like the more data you can have on them, the better. You can start rewarding them for being a part of your ecosystem. So this includes like discounts through email, enrolling them in your rewards programs, like giving them perks, like referral prompts, etc. Outbound marketing, like tips for what to visit next, like places to, local things to do, things like that. These are all parts of that reward mechanism. What that does is it leads to this probability of them booking again. And then when they book again, they stay again. You can enrich the profile a little bit more. There's always some more information that you can collect. You make their stay even more memorable. They remember you better. You remember them better. More rewards, more feedback. It's a feedback loop that keeps on building on itself.
Because if you think about your favorite brands, it's not just about buying the product, it's about the whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
You become a user of that product. You can even become a proponent. Just think about the last time you sold somebody on an item. I was talking to my brother last night and he was selling me so hard on his car. He was just like, dude, my car. And he was just going off on it, right? It's not just the purchase, it's the whole experience of being with that brand. And you want your guests to be doing that for your brand, not just, with themselves, but with their family, with their friends, on their social media. Like, this is where I go for my vacations because of how they make me feel, because of how great these properties are. And your marketing will help them do that. The likelihood of someone just doing that on their own is on the low side. But as you connect with them, as you invite them into your social media presence, as you offer them loyalty rewards, as you give them reasons to come back, the likelihood that they will not just take you up on that, but help you spread that word and really become an ambassador grows and grows.
Oh, completely. Completely. So let's dig into one of the actual campaigns. It's a really good user of ours, B2 Vacations, emailed 2,300 past guests. This is just a couple of weeks ago. That generated 136 bookings. So that's like a 6% conversion rate. That's insane, like 5.8%, but still. That's $80 of revenue per email sent. And with Yada, like the reason why that conversion rate is so high is it's because of all of the multi-touch follow-up that happens after that, and like within the context of that campaign. But this drove $186,000 of revenue. This is very important to highlight that when people have stayed with you, they want to stay with you again. Like, unless they left like a really bad review or they had a really bad experience, like they stayed because they wanted to have a good time. They stayed because they wanted to travel. They picked you out, right? They went to the OTA, they went on Airbnb, and they chose your hotel room. They chose your properties. They chose your brand to spend money with. That is like a 9.9 out of 10 signal strength for, hey, I want to do this again. So letting them know that you have an offer, or that you have a good reason to travel, or anything like that, even if it's to a small list size, like 2,300, which is like really not that huge, being able to drive like 186,000 in revenue from campaigns like this is really powerful. It's a strong signal that people that have spent money with you in the past want to do so again.
And the interesting thing here is there are some markets that are vacation destinations They have their loyal customers and people just come back year after year. If that's you, you should absolutely be doing marketing, right? Like that's such a no-brainer for exactly what we're seeing here. This is making sure that your best people don't go back to the OTA and choose a competitor. This is making sure that that money stays in your pocket and doesn't just pad Airbnb's balance sheets for their next earnings. So that's the approach if you're kind of a repeat destination, vacation destination.
Yeah.
If you're more of a bucket list or work traveler location, you might see different results, but over time, you will still see that uplift from marketing because of the reasons we mentioned before. Maybe someone won't come back again, but if you're still top of mind and you bring back that great experience that they had, the likelihood that they'll tell a friend or that they'll make a booking, you know, as the office manager or whatever it is, grows rather than them starting the search from scratch. Marketing, regardless of the path that somebody might take after their stay, will still boost your business over time, which is, you know, critical if you actually want it to grow.
For sure. What have we got on our next slide? Because I think we have a couple of data points that we want to highlight. Again, like we really just want to take this opportunity to highlight the data that we have and really use it as a proof point, so that everybody knows, like, you know, whether you market with Yada or you market with anywhere else, like you need to be marketing. This is an example of a really, really successful Yada customer. About 28,000 guests in their database, 21,000 are reachable or so. That 75% is pretty consistent across our database. This individual had sent 14 campaigns via email and SMS. This drove 335 direct bookings for about $500,000 and an average booking value of $1.781 or $1,781. So our platform average for direct bookings, so this includes the folks that are doing marketing, are 5.6%. Excluding the folks that are doing marketing. So, you know, everybody that's not doing marketing is closer to 3 or 4%. These guys are at 17% direct booking rate. So there is, you know, just a 5 to 6x to 7x in some cases delta between what your direct booking rate can look like when doing outbound marketing and not doing outbound marketing. This is undeniably important to market your properties, to activate your past guest list, and to do something about the fact that you have tens of thousands of pieces of contact info in your database that are just sitting there unused.
Which kind of brings us to the end of the conversation. I mean, the takeaway from all of this is market to your past guests, right? It works. It prevents you from losing them to the OTA, paying a 15.5% fee as a result, or even worse, losing them to a competitor because your brand wasn't top of mind. So we try to make this as easy for you as possible with really helpful campaign suggestions. We have our weekly customer success marketing mastermind, only for Yada customers, where, you know, we're kind of sharing best practices. And then, of course, all kinds of automations across the guest life cycle, as well as trying to match the best guest with the best property opening and give them the right message to have them say yes to coming back to your property. So that is our mission. If you have found activities that work even better than what we shared, maybe it's on social, maybe it's in terms of phone calls or guest communications follow-up, maybe it's direct mail, we want to hear them. We want to hear them because those are the things that we are going to be building over time. Because really what we're creating Yada for is so that every STR manager can go from that 3 or 4% to that 20% in repeat bookings and bring people back direct.
Yeah, and you know, if you have any other ideas for you know, what's been working, as Steve said, shoot them our way. We always like to incorporate that into the automations and the systems that we're running. But the most important thing is to just market to your past guests, activate the list, use the list, make sure that it drives results, make sure that it's not sitting in your PMS or that it's sitting anywhere unused. Like, do something with it. It's the easiest, fastest, cheapest way to grow your revenue.
There you go. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Guys. Thank you so much. Until next week.